In case you guys missed the last video, real quick, NewAir sent us out a mobile AC unit. That's like 300 bucks. You guys can save some money with the discount code in the description. Basically, this room in our living room gets about 5 degrees hotter. This is where I ship all the stuff out. And so they reached out to us and said, hey, do you have any AC needs? And we said, yeah, our living room gets kind of hot. So they sent us out this mobile AC unit that works amazing. Cools the house off perfect on the hottest days of the year since we're out in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you guys need a little help with cooling anything, hit them up in the description. I appreciate it. And let's fix some power steering pump. What up, guys? Welcome to another video. Today, real quick, just a reminder on karmaspeed.com, if you guys are new-ish here or completely new, we have our show shine and our glass cleaner and our ultra shine tire shine. Holy shines. It's on the freaking website. Go get your detail products, keep your whip clean. We just did the Cerakote earlier today, and now for this video we are on to fixing the power steering on the 350Z. So to get started, I actually have my second motor that's readily available. I pulled off the power steering pump on the Japanese engine, imported. I got this engine from JDM of California. So if you go down right here, this is where the power steering pump is, and this is the one from the Japanese one. So to give you an idea, the bottom right hole right there, bolt there, one up top, and that's it for holding the power steering pump in. So that bottom bolt is right here, the top one is right there, and then it slides out, and this is where your power steering fluid hose goes into it to refill it. Under the hood on the left side, I already moved my catch can, which was mounted right here with the power steering fluid little canister guy with the hose that goes into the power steering pump, which is this guy. So we're gonna take that out. We already took these bolts out. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen and take this guy off right here. I actually have it hand tight already. Okay, so this is loose. That'll just give me more wiggle room. If you guys don't have a little chair, a little scooter like this, I'll leave a link in the description to a little product on Amazon. You guys can order it, get it in 2 days hopefully. So if you're working in your garage, it's much, much easier. First bolt, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the top one. Gotta get in there. While I'm doing this, I'm worried about how much space I have to actually get this thing out of here. So I might have to remove this coolant overflow and the power steering fluid container. Okay, that's loose. Now I need to go down in between this pulley, which I need to get the belt off. Tanner and I are looking at the power steering, and then the belt tensioner, it seems to be. We're figuring out how it works real quick on the second engine. How to remove the Serpentine belt. This is the belt tensioner, this is the alternator, this is another pulley, and this is where our power steering pump was. Right here, tensioner. Loosen this bolt second, but before you do that, first and most important is 14mm, break this loose, and then do your adjustment on the bottom, and that will make it loose. So it's actually very, very tight in here. So I'm gonna use a 1/4" drive and hopefully get to our belt tensioner from the bottom. Now the next step is getting the bottom right bolt off in between the pulley. And you kind of have to do it blind, so it might take a second to find it. Come to find out, the Japanese one is a 12mm bolt inside the pulley, and the American one that I'm working on is a 14mm. So that was my issue this whole time. Just took our coolant overflow tank out, and then we have better access to our power steering lines to get hopefully the whole pump out. Would you say this is a 1 Tanner? What do they call this? Like it goes a 1-inch socket on the big boy ratchet, and so now we have the overflow tank out. Tanner got this hose off, but he slid it on so it doesn't leak too much more fluid. So the next step is to put this 1-inch on here. Break this loose. And if you guys don't have any tools, I'll leave a link in the description as well. 1 inch is kind of rare, so you might need to order one, so you should be able to Amazon Prime it. I just lost a copper gasket on the bottom when I moved it, so be careful because that's gonna fall on the ground.
And there's one on top as well.
Yeah, so there's one on the bolt right here that you can see, and then there's one on the bottom side as well that just fell. So this hard line is gonna be out of the way, so now we can take our bolts off the power steering pump and pull it out somehow. It's gonna be tight. Where my hand is at, we're taking the 12mm bolt out of the top, one of 2 bolts, holding it to the motor. I'm gonna slide this guy out. There we go. And then we're gonna go back into our pulley and take this bolt out all the way. It's a 14mm on the USDM engine. I got the shorter socket because the bolt is almost all the way out and it's maxing out my space. So let's get this bolt out as much as we can. Top corner of each of the fan shroud is a 10mm. Tanner's taking it loose, and then we'll probably have to go underneath and do those, and hopefully we can just get it to drop enough to give us some clearance. Shroud is pretty busted on the left side, but we're able to finagle it and move it forward just enough to get that bolt through. It's a major pain. There's really no way to show it visually, but it is there, and you guys will figure it out if you tackle this. Just give it some patience. So now we can kind of get this back in place, and we're going to try and pull the actual pump out because it's not attached to the engine anymore. We got it out. Very tight space. But on the bolt hole where it slides into the motor mount, basically, I took a lot of power steering fluid, rubbed it around both sides so it slides in really easy because you kind of have to fight it on the way out, and we don't want to have to deal with that. That's the fan shroud. It was so dry rotted it broke off, so then we just snapped it out because it was just toast. So now we have a ton of room by the radiator to get this in there. We had to get a giant screwdriver and kind of pry on the power steering pump to get all the bolts to line up. But with a little bit of patience, we got it figured out, and we're good to go. So now we have these wires we gotta tape up before we drive it, and then the last thing on the actual pump is the power steering fluid bolt. It's the next day now. We are getting back at it. Went to O'Reilly's, got a new pump because the Japanese one didn't work, because where the hard line, this hard line right here, you can see it has that little lip, that whatever you want to call it, that basically keeps it when it's under pressure from rotating, I believe. And so it fits in this little like slot right there, and on the Japanese one it didn't have that slot, so there was no way for this to seat in there properly, like flush, to get it sealed. So couldn't use the Japanese one, sadly, on that engine over there, but we got this one in, and we just need to get this bottom bolt in on the pulley. You can see it sticking out right there. We don't have the back lined up quite yet, so this has been a kind of a nightmare, but cleaning everything up, pulled the fan shroud out. Don't remember if I filmed that or not. I gotta order a new one because it was so cracked, it just broke. And then, but I'll be able to run it, just have to tuck up the wires, but I'm gonna go ahead and try and get this bottom bolt in there. We were luckily able to get the bottom one in. All I did was take this huge screwdriver and kind of pry on the back side of it a little bit like so, and then Trevor's throwing the 20 or the 1-inch socket on the oil line, power steering fluid line. We're gonna tighten that up, snug it up. We got our copper washers on the bottom and top of it. That's an extra one that we have. And we should be good to go to put everything back and then start it up. Hate to not film this kind of stuff, but it's so crammed in there that I don't know what else to do because it's been such a struggle and we just want to get it done. But hopefully this video has helped thus far. But pump's in there, overflow's in there, catch can is back. The power steering reservoir is back in place. Trevor's doing the last 2 bolts, and we are gonna fill that reservoir up and see if it sucks some back into the pump, and hopefully it starts working. Oh, and we gotta do the serpentine belt, I forgot. We just put the serpentine belt on. Basically you just put the grooves in this one, over that one, and then you put the flat side on the tensioner, and then leave this barely loose, and then tighten this all the way up till the belt's tight, and then you snug this one tight. So this is the last one you tighten, and that holds it in place. This moves it up and down. this keeps it in that spot. That's good. And then now all we have to do is put power steering fluid in the reservoir. That's probably good. We'll see what happens. Alright, let's see if this works. Oh, yeah. Oh, that belt is so tight. Come on, baby, give me some power steering. It is a luxury when you don't have it. Oh, yes. It's working so far. I don't have a fan shroud on, so I gotta be careful with it. Alright, so here's the real test. First, I'm barely moving. I'm just gonna turn, do a full U-turn. Oh, one-handed. What a time to be alive. Yes. Power steering is awesome. Back at the house, so this belt that we put back was squeaking pretty loud. We loosened it a little bit and then soaked some purple power degreaser all over it and kind of let it soak and then let it run for a little bit, and Trevor sprayed some more on it while I was running, and then now the squeak is gone. So we got all the dirt, oil, grime off the belt, and the squeak seems to be gone. So all I gotta do is check the radiator, make sure that's full, order a fan shroud, and then we're good. This car makes so many weird rickety noises right now. I think part of it's like the clutch that's going out, and then the exhaust is Trevor's exhaust with like a bunk white pipe, and then Trevor's catback that is way quieter than mine. I wasn't able to fit the catback perfectly, so I think it rattles around a little bit. And so that's my next thing, is to dynamite this and then figure out all these little noises so it's more dailyable. And then I need to redo the front ball joints. There's a ton of stuff on this car. And then meanwhile, I haven't even finished the duckbill. I got to finish that and then order some vinyl and start wrapping this thing. So appreciate you guys watching this video. Let me know if you have anything 350Z related that you want to see. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. karmaspeed.com if you guys want to support the channel. And all the builds going on, we put it right back into everything that goes on here at the house. So I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Later.